I waited and waited and waited because it's like sometimes I have a habit of, well, I have this habit a lot actually. Jumping the gun, not getting the facts right, or just, airing out my biases. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Mutahar, Sungrad, Hassan, the whole Hassan crew getting sued by Ethan the Jew. Yeah, here we are. I think it's like clockwork. What do you think about it? Because it's like, okay, everybody's thinking, right? Oh, Canada, France, the United Kingdom, and now Australia are recognizing the state of Palestine. And I'm just like, oh shit. So that means the conflict is over, right? Like, Israel lost, or like they had to take a concession, or like whatever, right? No, no, they're gonna right. They're gonna occupy Gaza. They're gonna take it over. They're gonna kick out the Hamas. They're gonna change everything about that place, and it's all thanks to Hassan. And I don't think it's all thanks to him, but it doesn't help when you have so many agitators, and like, dog, you're not part of this conflict. Just because you like share the same religion with them doesn't mean like they very much need you or you're necessary and shit like that. But like, these like fucking retard ass Muslims like honestly think that like they're doing themselves or each other any good by chiming in, right? And like they're not alone. Like all these people who are like saying like, yo, there's like a genocide in Gaza, like you're not helping, you know? You're just feeding into the whole propaganda of, there's of occupying force of people. Um, they are not occupying. They're basically the only people maintaining peace and order in that area, and they get accused of everything under the sun. And now here we are, like, being pushed into judging them. Okay, you are the genociders. Okay, you are the adversaries. Even other Jewish people are calling out, like, Israel, the state of, not the state of, sorry, Netanyahu, right? And here we're at, current day. So what do I have to say? Well, of course, I'm gonna throw some shade at the Sikhs, right? Because that's what I do. Because, like, that trucking accident is very indicative of, like, how not just, like, most of these migrant groups, but, like, specifically ones from Pakistan, Punjab, like, this very concentrated group of people that seem to be causing, like, a lot of these problems and stuff. I was, like, watching this interview with Sadiq Khan and, like, some other members of the parliament or whatever, and he's so smug because he's trying to like coax her into saying like, yo, it's the Pakistani slash Punjabi rape gangs and shit. And he's just like, yo, he knows like his time in politics, his time in the UK is slowly coming to an end. Like he can't live there with his family. If he gets what he wants, right, and all the migrants get to stay, like there's just too many guys. There's too many guys committing sexual assaults and stuff. Just now, like there was like I think a Scottish girl, and she was like being touched by this guy who's like literally filming her. Like that's the thing that these pedophiles like to do. These Sikhs, these Pakis, they like to pull out their phone and like play victim and be innocent, pretend to be innocent and shit. While they're like, "Yo, you fully untouched this girl in front of her like 12-year-old sister and stuff." And the sister pulls out like these weapons, and it's so hilarious. But like I said in the past, unfortunately, United Kingdom is a lost cause, right? Because the fact that she even got arrested in the first place should say everything you need to know about the men who live there. Because they let that happen. Like, if that was, like, my family member, whatever, I'm going to jail before she does. And I'm going to take some cops out with me if that's the case. Like, if they want to go after my, little sister, whatever, criminally, and yeah, they're gonna leave this guy who just like fully on molested her and shit alone. Like this is pure anarchy, and it's slowly happening here in Canada. So like in America, they're finding out about the Sikhs, right? The guy does this jackknife turn, insta kills three people, right? Um, it gets way worse, right? So the guy who's with him in the truck, he's his brother, like his actual like full on blood brother. Like, dog, your brother sucks. why do you, why did he pull out his phone and start filming and shit like a fucking dumbass, man? Like if I were just him, I would just keep my mouth shut and be like, I don't speak the English, but they're both getting deported anyway. Well, he's getting deported because he didn't really commit a crime, but he's illegal. But the guy's gonna do like, I think 3 consecutive sentences because of like the fact that it was more negligence involved in the story than I realized. So the first thing that I did not point out was he tried to flee the country. So shortly after the accident, instead of being reprehended by the authorities, I don't know, somehow he was like let out for bail or something. And yeah, he fled to California. At least that's what I'm guessing. Like maybe they just let him go completely. I don't know why they would do that. That just seems really fucking odd. But like yeah, they extradited him from California back to Florida to like face the justice. And like again, he's like stone cold, stone faced, cold demeanor, has absolutely no like remorse in him whatsoever. And I get it. I could see why people are pissed off about it. But again, the story gets even better as it works. So like me living out here in Brampton, I'll tell you about like how these Sikhs really want to like, form their own grooming gang slash rape gang. You can't be like, afraid about saying it because, it is a very, real part of our lives, unfortunately. Like the fact that the media has gone into such overdrive to make it a cover up, basically, or to strike it down as being a conspiracy theorist or like, dishonest or racist or whatever label you want to attain to it. Like they just keep trying to brush it under the rug, basically. So it's very important to just like call that out wherever you see it, whether it's Canada, any country, United Kingdom, Europe, you know, it's just their way of life. And we have to physically acknowledge that the failure of our government to want to have this kind of cheap labor without the oversight of our safety has to be, taken as a form of contempt. You are in you are dealing with the contempt of your government, right? When young people can't find jobs, when there's so much pollution around and people are throwing garbage, like it's nothing. Like there's even this like video, this Punjabi girl saying like, yeah, she should be able to throw garbage because she pays taxes and stuff. And it's like that's their way of life. That is their that's how they were brought up and stuff. Like in their way of life, they have literal slave servants who are, in destitute, perpetual slavery to them, and it's nothing unnatural for them to have this. But when they come over here, they like, try to show all off. They're like, oh, we have family and stuff. It's actually kind of funny because I bring this up because okay, so they're doing this like sympathy drive for the Sikh driver who killed the 3 people, right? They're saying, oh, he worked for his family and stuff. So there's this like retarded looking lady, right? And she's with her like I'm guessing younger daughter or whatever, was like young little kid. And like she does the most like obvious bullshit type ass thing you've ever seen, right? She's like talking with her like shitty ass like Paki accent and stuff. Like it's one of the more irritating, at least to me, accents to listen to. But she's describing how he's like working for his family, blah blah blah, right? And then as she says it, you know what she does? She takes her finger, right, and she just like taps it on her cheek, and then the kid comes and kisses the mom or the aunt, whoever the fuck this lady is. It's so like transparently obvious that you're trying to like garnish sympathy, and it's like, what the fuck are you doing? 3 people lost their lives, and they haven't been dead for like over like a week now, and like you're already talking about moving on. and giving mercy to this guy. And it's not just because of this guy. It's also because they want all these H1N1B visas, so specifically out of the, the Sikhs, these Punjabis, out of the fucking country. Because America is not that kind of country that has like censorship like we do here in Canada. So like, the states will very much have different stories. So like in New York, these people are like, "Oh my God, it's an innocent family," and these right-wing Floridians, just want them out of the country unfairly and stuff. It was just a small accident, and these people who are dying when they were speeding on a highway, doing the speed limit and stuff. It's one of those things where, like, from the outside, it's funny, but for living on the inside, it must be very stressful being an American, knowing that like your fellow countrymen are among your worst of enemies to have. Because say what you want about foreigners and stuff, but they can't legally own a gun or vote in your elections. So I could understand how frustrating that is. It's like you know what I mean, like you see like the plight of young people and you see the plight of your country, and everybody says it, like Joe Rogan says it, other celebrities chime in and say it, like, yo, your politicians, your elite, they do not serve the interests of your population. Like they're telling you to obey COVID measures. They're going out and partying and all that. Like it's well documented too. And what kind of punishment do they get or fines? No, nothing. And if they do get fined, who's paying for it? The taxpayer. It's all a farce. It's all a farcical farce, right? Like these Sikhs, they want very much to stay in the country, despite the fact that they're illegally coming into the country and they're breaking laws like crazy, and they don't want to do any of the regulations. Like, why is it fair, right? Because you want to work as a trucker, like as a guy who hauls loads and stuff, that you skip to the front of the line and your credentials are just basically bullshit. Like, not only should you be deported out of the country, you should be punished to the maximum extent of the law. Not only to set an example, to show you guys, like, yo, you don't fucking come into this country and break the laws and shit. And I bring this up because it's like, it's happening here in Canada and the news, and nobody wants to report on it. Because all the Sikhs are like, oh, we're going to vote liberal, we're going to this, we're going to that, right? And that's why we have such bullshit in our country. We have these like fucking rotten ass people who like literally don't care about breaking the law and only care about themselves, like to the point where they can like gloss over a person who, or people, three people who have died, especially so soon, like almost like clockwork, because of like they heard the punishment, they heard what they're gonna do to them, like what kind of like sentencing they have in America that's different from Canada. Like I swear, dog, like most of these Sikhs, I wouldn't put it by me that they would want to set up like their own like clan hut whatever in Canada, so they can just like self-govern and shit, and then just like go around running their fucking child rape gangs, because the inquiry is actually coming back in the UK, and they're getting everybody's getting stressed out. All the Pakis are getting stressed out. They're trying to like take down the St. George flags. I saw this one TikTok or whatever, and this guy's complaining. He's like, "Get this out of my country." I'm like, wow, like the audacity of these fucking helmet-headed retards to like come out and say that kind of shit. It's like, nah, it's not your country, man. Your country's a failure. Your country, like when you go to your country, you can smell feces, right? When you drink the water, there's feces in the water. That's your country. Like that is the difference, right? And you want to come into another person's country, and you treat it the same way too. Like people are complaining about what is it, lake out in Alberta or Calgary, and again, it has E. coli in it, a bacteria found commonly in human waste. Mm. Right, and people are like, they wonder why like I would go to such lengths to wear and do all the things that I do, and like try to stand out and be abnormal, if you will. And now like it's come full circle. To be fair though, when I started doing it, I kind of felt bad about doing it. I was just like, oh my god, I'm really gonna be wearing fingerless gloves. Like I like them, but if people are gonna see me wearing them, you know what I mean? I have them on my hands, right? But then I thought to myself, well, how much worse can it get, right? And now you have like 12-year-old girls defending their sister. You shouldn't come to that at all. Ladies and gentlemen, I know my channel is like, you know, most likely shadow banned, censored to like large level, a degree of like, uncertainty whether or not like any of my YouTube videos at all will ever be heard or seen or watched. You know, but if you are, I'm glad. If you're using a VPN or whatever, I just don't know it. Thankfully, that means like I'm getting through to people or whatever, and keeping yourself safe at the same time. That's cool. That's cool. Because it's like again, I don't want money. I don't want like anything. Whatever fame, none of that shit. It's nice that like people watch it because I find it funny. Like, why would people care what I think? I'm just the guy who plays the video games. But like again, like I think I watch enough people and I echo the sentiment that people generally have. So to that extent, I'm grateful. I'm grateful because proliferation, right? It's one of those words. I gotta bring it up again. Yeah. See, you know what's the problem? You see those two girls there, right? They're getting stalked and harassed by this guy who's literally filming them on the spot, right? Now, what is the problem in that scenario? At least to me, is that he's continuously filming them. They need something that can take that guy out and stop them from getting filmed and shit, right? Disgusting. What the fuck are you doing filming kids, man? Are you bringing out your fucking camera doing it? It reminds me of that lady who's in the park, right? Standing up for her like little toddler and stuff. And like, yeah, unfortunate use of words there, lady. But like, again, in the guy filming, it was like some fucking convicted pedophile and shit. Like, the fuck, dog? Commit sexual assault? Like, what are we talking about here? So you need something that like, you can just like fire off and shit. Like, what is the legality of like, pepper spray in the United Kingdom, or like make something that's makeshift or something? At this point, I highly suggest you do that. Your police like Asmongold showed it off the best, right? Like it's funny too because it's like it's something that we all think. Like I think we have like a collective consciousness as to like how we perceive the bullshit that's going on in the UK Kingdom right now. So we have the police force coming out basically in near contempt of its people, saying like, okay, look, you can't be catcalling girls, and you're gonna spend government resources on that shit. Like it's like a global thing. It's like all men are doing it, right? And I'm not saying that like 100% of the white population or black population is innocent. They wouldn't, whatever, right? Like obviously you're gonna have people who are, but like the Middle Eastern and the Pakistani, the Punjabi, you have to call it like you see it. The Sikhs and the Muslims are raping white women, children, and stuff. And the fact that the Sikhs are trying to hide that from your face, like okay, so there was this like incident that happened, right? Where this like old ass Sikh guy got like fucking beat down by a bunch of teenagers, and they're saying like, oh, how brutal it is, and this and that, but they're not telling you why it happened, right, ladies and gentlemen? Like I said, when I view these videos, the thing you gotta watch out for, especially in today's like current events and stuff, is the shit that they're not telling you and stuff. So they're not telling you, did he do anything? I saw this like old ass video, this like old Sikh guy, and he's just like walking around jerking off. This guy's like filming him. It's like, yo, stop jerking off. And just like fucking smacks him. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like these are sick fucking retard ass people. And this isn't me like throwing shade and shit. Like when you have people who don't understand that you need to have, genetic diversity, you need to have like people who are outside of these arranged, consanguineal marriages. You have to, right? Or else you're gonna have problems. And they both carry out that practice. It's very common. Like there's something like 60 something plus percent of migrant, like specifically from Pakistan, Punjab area, that have this problem. So like it's not like me just like saying it for no reason. No, it's it's a reality that that these people have to unfortunately deal with on a daily basis. And it's getting to the point where, if they have to feel hyper nationalistic and patriotic to hang up the St. George flag everywhere, but there's like a contingent of people living in their country who don't want that. Like there's going to be inevitable problems because like we're seeing here in America, like when you have 3 million basically insurgency people, right? And people are arguing that, the signatures were botted and stuff, and I'm like, okay, maybe. So let's like say 70% was botted, and we'll take something like, a couple hundred thou on the of signatures, like almost a million signatures, right? Are genuine. That's still pretty fucking significant, if I do say so myself, right? Like these are people who gloss over the very idea of, wrongful and, willful negligence that led to death. Like people, like, you know what I mean? Like you wouldn't want someone who's not qualified to be a pilot, right? To get a pilot's license and fly planes, and then like think about like that, right? Like the tragedy that could befall you from a pilot who, improperly lands a plane or flies through, something, right? Crashes is something that we haven't even considered yet because we do have airplane accidents, aircraft accidents, whatever, right? But like the qualifications and like the strict, guidelines, at least that we thought were in place, was what previously kept us safe. But like the craziest thing to come out from this story is that for all the like biases and people say the racist like rhetoric I have against Sikhs, for all the shit that I say, like they actually had the audacity to liquidate their company and like try to like hide. So like the company no longer exists. Basically, they wanted to, and I think I don't speak for the American, whatever, their business inquiries and stuff, but if I read the situation correctly, I think that they basically, avoided any penalties, if you will, and it's something that like they commonly do as a practice. Like they'll just, you know, break the rules, like get a bunch of CDL like violations, this and that, and then start up a new shell or something like that, and it's like same owners, this and that, like there is no, unfortunately, there is no oversight, and I feel bad because as bad as they have it in the States, like think about how bad we have it here. Like all these Sikh drivers, truck drivers, barely any of them probably qualify, speak English, this and that. Like the fact that you have people trying to speak Punjabi in the for the English uh, national anthem is a slap in the face to all us Canadians because it's just like, you know, you don't want to be hearing no patois, Jamaican. Actually, I think everybody would. We'd be like, yo, put on that Jamaican accented national anthem. I'll stand for that shit. Everybody would, yo, man. It's like Caravana. It's like, yo, man, sing that national anthem, Admiral General. You get Don Raja out of like retirement. He's done stealing the Punjabi beats. But for real though, like the world is headed to like basically a wartime scenario. First with cultures, specifically of pedophilic religions, and then towards nationalistic pride. It's all thanks to, well, Israel like winning its country back, but freedom unfortunately comes at a price, and we're all gonna have to pay for it. I mean, inevitably, it's like they're picking on us because they can't, mess with Israel and shit. So, big ups to Israel and shit. Holla at your boy Ethan Klein and the lawyer tribe. Yo, hella active, Hassan. You and your homies. All right, take it easy, everybody, and remember, proliferation.